in ether. I thought I'd bring this particular video because like what he says just makes total sense as well. When people have arguments with their good parents, etc. His advice is very good as well, actually. So I'm gonna play it.
Terms with their godparent, Madrina, Padrino, what have you. There were fallouts between godparents and godchildren, um, abandonment. We have a lot of abandoned Yawoses that exist, and a common rhetoric that I hear with godchildren that have separated from their godparents is I don't want to have anything to do with him or her. I've heard things as extreme as, um, Ochun gave me. There was a santero that said, "Oh, Ochun gave me the okay to say whatever it is I want about my madrina. She can go rot in hell and choke on a you know what." It was like very explicit about it. And then I want nothing to do with my godparent, and he or she is nothing to me, never will be. I hope they rot in hell, yada yada yada. But I'm here to say that once you are initiated and you have chosen a godparent, and that godparent has placed Orisha on your head, and you are initiated, or we have what's called like you're seated, Orisha is seated. Now we say crown, pero in Spanish it's to see santo, asentar el santo to the head, but in English we say crowned. Once you go through that initiation and you are officially a santero, santera, or Orisha, you have a lifelong bond to that godparent and to that godparent's Orisha for the rest of your life. And even after death, it may come out, even if your relationship with your godparent was horrible, it may come out when your godparent's dead, fucking 20 years down the line. Oh, there's an Egun, there's an Egun standing up that wants acknowledgement, that wants this and that, whether it wants a drumming, whether it wants to, or whatever. Because of the bond that you have and the link that you have with your godparent. And after initiation, once you have been initiated by a godparent, there is nothing that you can do, nothing that you can say to sever that tie that you have between you and your godparent. That is why it is imperative to do your best to choose a godparent that you're not going to have a fallout with or a breaking of relationship with. It's super duper common. A lot of people are not involved or even associate with the house that they were born in. But I think it's important for people to know once you are initiated.
Only got 32 minutes to go. Comes every 30 minutes, They got.
It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter whether you present Plato Coco Vela. I left respectfully. I left disrespectfully. I just never spoke to him or her again. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter whether the godparent abandoned the Yawo or whatever negative circumstance, whether there was a fight, whatever. For the rest of your life, whoever initiated you is your godparent. And you have religious obligations to the Orisha of that godparent. There are, just religious observations to be made. And even after death, there are certain rituals or observances. I don't like to get into detail there, but even after death, there are religious observances and protocols involved. And a lot of people will say, screw him, screw her. I don't want nothing to do with him or her. I'm glad he's dead. I'm glad she's dead, yada, yada, yada. Be it as it may, whatever relationship you have with your crowning godparent. Like I said, it does not matter where you go, you are eternally linked, or at least within this lifetime,
You're connected to them.
linked to that godparent. And until and unless both your asses are dead, that link stands the test of time. So that's an important concept, I think, that a lot of people need to understand. Okay? So choose your godparent wisely. If in
Yeah,
the event that
yeah.
things do not work out between you and your crowning godparent, he or she is and always will be your padrino, your madrina, your elder. Even if you present plato coco vela, even if you never talk to that person again, uh, that is the individual that you chose to initiate you as such. He or she is forever in this lifetime your madrina, your padrino. Maybe you could try again in your next life. I don't know. Come back as a cat, come back as a whoever, and have someone else initiate you in your next life if it was that traumatizing to you. But this is a concept that a lot of people, it's not one that people like to hear. The idea that you are forever linked spiritually to the individual that you had a falling out with. And I get it. It can be inflammatory to hear. It can be offensive to the ears to hear. Oh yeah, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, you're initiated, That's it. You will have a link to that individual no matter what went on, the breakup y'all had, the fallout you had, the screaming, the fighting, the whatever. You chose that person to be your religious father, your religious mother. And now, uh, until both of you are dead, both of you are linked forever. And there are things for you to fulfill within your lifetime to that godparent, religious obligations. So a lot of people don't want to hear that, and then it perpetuates. Um, I think it can perpetuate misinformation because now you have a lot of people that are disconnected from their birthing godparent, the one that initiated them, and now that person, that the godchild, broke up with their godparent, and now that godchild goes around and has more godchildren and tells stories about, I don't care about my godparent, I don't care about my godparent. But without that last person initiating you, you wouldn't be able to initiate anybody else. So, to some extent, regardless of what fallout you had with your godparent, you have to give respect and the flowers to the individual that you chose, even if it was not a wise decision, but you chose to have that person initiate you. And you have to give flowers to the Orisha that they have made on their head. And the godchildren following you should be giving their flowers to the one who initiated you, because that person is their grandparent, Abocha. Baba Lagba, yeah, Lagba. A lot of people say, "Oh no, I don't Kinkamache my padrino. I don't Kinkamache my madrina." The Kinkamache is just, I don't like to get into details about anything when it comes to that, but it's an acknowledgement of certain santeros and santeras that exist in your life, and you're wishing no harm upon him or her. And people say, "Oh, I don't think Kinkamache him or her. He or she could rot in hell for all I care." Okay, but you still have your religious obligations with that individual, and you best believe that if you get mounted with anybody, the santo that you have is going to salute the godparent that you have all this beef with, because the human beefs that we have between each other ain't got nothing to do with the religious links that we have and the spiritual links and whatever dynamics that the Orisha has. I always say this: I am me, I am a human being, you are a human being. The Orisha is the Orisha. So these mundane human quarrels that we find ourselves in ain't got nothing to do with the Santo. Okay? So keep that in mind when choosing a godparent. Choose wisely, because once you're initiated, that is it.
Well, that's why I think that how people should go by their testimonials, by the because there's people out there who give their testimonies, and they will say who is the best babalawo, who's the best what they call it, padrina, whoever. Because even I've seen big arguments has erupted on social media between uh uh what they call it, by priestesses and stuff, and I'll be like, oh, like to me, like when you're dealing with certain stuff like this, like dealing with Orisha's Ifa particularly, um I feel that how it should be, like there should be a conversation that be had. Obviously, you need to have a conversation. You need to close the door on that person, like close the door before you move on. Or what I did, like I said, what I did, I asked the Baba if I can go to another house as well as coming to him, but then in the end it's like you lose contact with them, you lose connection with them, and you become, like he mentioned, the abandoned godchildren, the godparents that abandoned them as well. So it's not only the arguments, it's not only the other stuff that goes on. I've even seen a case of where like one's putting words to Orisha's, sending them to bring them down and stuff. I was like, wow, I thought that how you had to walk in Iwa Pele and good character, right? Like right, like in this particular, I call it a practice, I don't call it a religion. In this particular practice, right, right, you walk in good character. Everything that you do a good character. One priestess talk about the three roads or two roads that you go down. One road is a rough road and the other road is a smooth road. So like you have a choice which way you want to go. There's loads of people scamming people out there and doing loads of stuff, and people have bad experiences with certain bubbles, and they go to get into arguments and all sorts. And me, I wouldn't want someone playing with my head who is not good for me. You know what I mean? Like initiation is a big thing anyway, right? Especially like when you're choosing the godparent as well. The godparent is the most important one. When choosing that godparent, yeah, make sure that how you and that godparent have really good, like I said, good communication. I talk about Orisha baby. I mean, Orisha baby shows me that how you can have a real good communication with your padrina or your baba, and it's like a family. It's like a family. That's what you come into. So like that's what I'm saying. It's all about trust, and as trust is one, and all that. So when you're saying certain things against them, particularly, right, you have to know that there's consequences with that. Like, it's like you gotta check in with yourself as well. Like when you're making certain words and saying, oh, if them, like he said, like, oh, that is just a strong way to look at it. Like, so to me, um you have to choose wisely, choose wisely is the word, choose wisely. You cannot be abandoned by the good parent. You must, like, the arguments, yes, everybody's human, like I said, we're all human at the end of the day, but then at the same time it's like it's like why do we um if you feel that that you don't have that connection with that person, then you just leave. Like I said, most people go into isolation, and then they find the baba later on, or they find whoever later on. They'll be in isolation for a long time. It could be a lonely journey, but then Like somehow, right, you meet people who say, yeah, or they give you a recommended one and you go to them. But yeah, I mean, all this to and fro, I just find it really interesting to me. Um, but what he says is key anyway. Um, I like how he puts it into words. He puts it in a way. You are connected to that person, especially if you're initiated with them. You are connected to them forever. Which means that how right if they have a an Orisha, if they have a particular Orisha that they give homage to and stuff like that, that means that how right you have to do the same. You have to continue the thing. It's like what you call it, a family tree. You continue, because even afterwards, right, you go and you have your good children, and you have to carry on that 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 protocol, and that is real. So I'm not gonna stay on here long. I just thought I played that one because I wanted to because I spoke about him yesterday, so I thought I'd play him today so you can hear from that side, like the disagreements, because in IFA there is a lot of disagreements that goes on, a lot of disagreements. Elders be having problems with the young, with the new ones coming up. I think Arisha Baby also spoke about that. It be really ridiculous. Um, so yeah, and to me, like even if the Baba is young, and you're an elder yourself, like there's certain things, right, you might disagree with certain things what they do, but then like at the same time, right, you have a choice. You could literally walk away, or you could tell them, I don't know. I don't know anyway. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But anyways, but I just know for me, being an abandoned a godchild of in E5, it didn't feel good. And I already gave the example yesterday. So with that said, I'm not gonna stay on here long. I'm going to leave it right there. You can leave in the comments if you have had this happen to you, if you have been in that situation where you've been initiated and then you fall out. How did it work? Did it work out? Did you move on? Did you find another Elay? Did you another temple? Um, was you more successful with the other temple than with the temple you was with? Because some really gatekeep information. They gatekeep the information, and even if you research the information down to the ground, even though like as one chief will say to me, you're supposed to go to the source. And it's always good to go to the ones who practice, especially the look at me ones. I find the look at me very interesting because some people do deal with it like how they deal with it in Cuba. And you get an insight into what's it like, how the religion is dealt or practice is dealt with in Cuba. You get a little insight into how it's dealt with in Nigeria. That's why sometimes it's good to go to the actual people who actually have that leverage. Like I said, the Ela Nifa that I'm kind of around. She is the real deal, and my baba was okay with me going to her because she is the real deal. I think they know. There's a link somewhere, but yeah. So and sometimes some of them have big chiefhoods in Nigeria. So even though they're over here seen as a little person, they are big in Nigeria. They have big lineages and stuff going on. So you know what I mean. But I'm not gonna go into it. But with that said, I am gonna leave it right here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.